Hi everybody, Digital Golf Doc here, licensed physical therapist and golf performance coach. Today we're going to talk about stretching, and more specifically, we're going to talk about why you don't stretch like this and why you do stretch like that. If you didn't see my previous video, we talked about why one style of stretching is more effective than another. So jump to it now or circle back later because understanding these key concepts is going to go a long way into you bettering your flexibility and mobility training. The first stretch to review in the don't do category is a very typical hamstring stretch. I've done it before. I'm sure you've done it before. People all over the world do it. You lay on your back, you take a band or a strap, and you pull your leg as far up as you can until you feel a stretch back here. Here's the problem. It's static. Typically, we perform too high of an intensity. We aren't controlling our breathing, and we're using this external strap instead of using our own muscles and body control to put us there. That makes it much less effective than our alternative. I'd rather you do what I call a hamstring straight leg raise. So a similar position, you're going to lay all the way back. You're going to drop your legs straight. The first thing we do is pull the toes back. That's going to put a little stretch in your calf and pre-tension your sciatic nerve. Next, keeping the knee straight, we're going to raise the leg as far as we can until we feel that stretch. We're going to keep using our muscles on the other side of the leg, trying to pull it this direction until we get to a moderate intensity. Do a brief hold, and we'll lower it back down. If we repeat this several times, we're filling in the gaps on what that last stretch was missing. This is dynamic. We can control the hold time, control the intensity, make sure we're breathing, and we're also using our own muscles to put us there. And that's going to make it a much more effective exercise. A quick bonus exercise I'll give you in a real similar setup is laying back, flexing your hip as far as you can, and trying to kick straight. Lower the leg down, flex the hip up, try and kick straight, lower down. You're certainly going to feel a stretch, and because it's more dynamic, what you're going to notice is you maintain the mobility much better than that static alternative. Our next stretch not to do is really a special one because not only does it tend to be ineffective, it also might cause an injury to your hip labrum. I've seen people do it many times. I've actually had them come to me for physical therapy because they pushed too hard on this. They start lying here, they let the leg drop inside, and then they take the other leg and try and pull it down. Now, don't get me wrong, hip internal rotation is massively important for the golf swing. But when you're forcing your hip into internal rotation, especially from that position, you take your labrum and you wedge it between your femur and your pelvis. If you do that enough, you create tears in the labrum and you can create injury. Instead, we're going to do this more dynamic alternative. This one is called a V-sit leg roll. So I'll sit nice and tall, arms supporting me at the side. My first movement is back with the toes. Second movement is trying to push the leg out. I'm going to roll all the way out for external rotation, all the way in for internal rotation. The whole time, I keep my pelvis stable, so I don't want to roll it off the ground like this. I want to isolate it to the hip joint. Again, this is dynamic. We're using our own muscles to control it. This is a nice safe position in this long axis position for the hip because it doesn't amplify the forces like it does when we take the knee bent and leverage it. So not only is it safer, but it's more effective. I often use this V-sit to spin off into a pretzel breathing exercise, which you can find in this video, which is certainly my favorite progression for hip mobility. Now this next stretch, what I'm not even sure has a name, I see done all over the gym. People will take their arm, put it against something like this, and they'll just lean forward. They might do it in a doorway. But again, a complete lack of control and dynamic stability. You're just throwing your hand on something, dropping your body forward. If you have an irritated shoulder, or even worse, anterior instability of your shoulder, you're essentially going to crank yourself into a position to dislocate your shoulder. I don't think I need to give a whole lot more reasons why this is not the stretch to do. Instead, what I'd rather you do is what I call an overhead liftoff. I'll kneel in front of a bench, and it doesn't have to be a bench. A chair or your couch works fine too. You could even put a pillow on your knees if your knees are sore. You're going to drop yourself down, and you're going to get to the point of a very slight stretch. Now, this is where you say, Golf Doc, that's not active. And we're going to add the active component because once we feel a slight stretch, we're going to try and lift to hover our hand off of the bench, the couch, the chair, whatever you're using. Now you've added an element of control. You can also add holds to that. Better yet, you really don't even need the bench. You could go into a child's pose position and do the same type of movement to emphasize that overhead mobility and, more importantly, control of overhead mobility. That's going to do it for our stretch like this, not like that video. Now, I know what a lot of you might be thinking. I have a stretch I've always done. It sounds a lot more like one of those static stretches that should be on the not that list. If that's the case, but you don't know an alternative, put that in the comments below. I'll do a video for you reviewing a better alternative. Thanks for watching. If this video is helpful for you, please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video, and keep trying to make you flexible, more mobile golfers. Thanks.